We just start off as usual, I guess. Okay. Yeah. Right. And say, we don't even need a 3, 2, 1 clap. I'm so used to doing a 3, 2, 1 clap.
Are you?
Yeah. As a marker. 2, 1. Oh my goodness. My name's Richard.
My name's Colin.
And this is We're Not Wizards. This is episode 11. The episode that has no name.
Oh, so we're not going for fun in heaven then.
Or we could have... Oh, I could have said that. Oh, we could start again. This is going to be our normal run show because Colin is back. Say hello, Colin. How are you doing?
Hello, Colin. How are you doing?
No, don't say that. How are you doing?
I'm fine, man. You
good.
Know me. You know,
yeah, it's all
overworked,
good.
Underpaid.
It's all good. Living the dream. Playing the cardboard. For people that haven't listened to us before, the reason that we do this is because there's quite clearly not enough podcasts about board games.
No. I looked. There isn't any of them. It's a shame.
It's a crying shame that a hobby as popular as tabletop is just not represented.
No voice on
by
the internet.
Enough guys sitting down and having a chat. Possibly 2 guys.
2 chaps. Prime of their lives.
Just reaching out, taking what they want, grabbing the world with both hands, and chatting about moving meeples. Pretty much. So, for those who aren't aware of what we normally do in these things, we have a couple of sections on the show, and we're just going to dive in today because I think it's going to be quite a quick one today.
I'm afraid so.
Yes.
Time has slipped through our fingers again.
It's been too long since me and Colin recorded an episode, but this is why, so you appreciate it even more. Because you get hamburger, steak. And this is the steak one.
Is it? What?
Yeah, well, it could be.
I'm quite sure this is the filler in between.
This is not the filler in between. You know, it's one of these strange things. It's like, I come to the club.
Couldn't get a guest tonight, so...
No, I got a guest tomorrow night. Oh my goodness, I can't even talk about it. We spoke last time about getting a couple of games to the table, and we spoke about...
we failed.
And we failed. No, we kind of didn't fail. Well, we kind of talked about getting Epic Resort to the table. And we also talked about getting Dungeon Lord to the table.
Yeah.
And then I went on Twitter and said, out of these 3 guys, what do you think? And I added on Mechs and Minions. And I think people said they wanted to hear us talk about Dungeon Lord, but... we went ahead with Mechs and Minions because
the rulebook's smaller.
The rulebook isn't. The rulebook isn't like reading Tolkien. And secondly, Dungeon Lords looks fascinating, but it looks like something you really, really need to sit down with. And Mechs and Minions, which is Riot Games.
Yep.
Now, Riot Games are interesting in the fact that they have made the League of Legends series, which is is it a MOBA? Is that what they call it? It's a PC game where you basically pick characters and you fight down lanes. It's like Dota 2, basically.
Well, it comes off of the original Dota.
Yes, yeah. So, and somebody said, they must have had a meeting and somebody says, should we make a board game? And they'll say, yeah, let's make a board game. How hard can it be?
How hard can it be?
And they've gone ahead and they have produced a board game with a capital A and a capital B as well.
Well, I don't think it's a capital A or a capital B. Surely, if it's...
Well, Mechs and... Well, I suppose...
That's an M. And...
Oh, come on. I'm so glad to have you back. Mechs and Minions is, to best describe it, you have to, before you get into the game, I think it's best kind of describing what comes in the game itself, because it is potentially one of the best packaged games I've seen in a very long time. I think what they've done is they've kind of looked at how games have been packaged before and thought, well, how can we make this interesting and maybe accessible and also quite exciting as well?
I think it's interesting that it's a company that's come not from a board gaming background, and they've put an awful lot of thought into their box, because it's all filled with custom plastic trays to make packing up, and it's just a breeze with the game because of these specialized plastic trays in it, which Fantasy Flight, please have a look.
Yes. Do you know what I mean? You should read the book called Trench is Not the Only Way to Have a Board Game. Because it's certainly... the way I describe it is you've got like about 3 different plastic trays that each have these minions, which are the minions of the title, which are your little figures, which are your little bad guys, which probably stand about 1.5 centimetres tall. And they're all grey in colour, but they've had a wash put on them to make them appear slightly metallic and just give them a little bit of...
Well, it makes you see the detail.
Yeah.
It's quite a good thing to do.
It's quite good. And then you on the main thing, you've got 4 little characters. Again, plastic miniatures, stand about maybe 5-6 centimetres high. Yeah?
Yeah, about 2 inches,
yeah. They're all painted.
Well, a bit more than 2 inches.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 inches.
3 inches kind of old money. Or good British imperial money.
Yes,
that's the way we like to play it. But they're painted.
That's why I wear my piff hat every day.
I see you've got a chest of medals. How delicious. But these are painted.
Cucumber sandwiches.
Is it? It's 4 o'clock. Why not?
Oh, it's Pim's o'clock.
Every day is Pim's o'clock. Every time is Pim's o'clock. It's so brilliant being a British alcoholic. But they're painted. And they're painted to a reasonable standard. I wouldn't say you're kind of blowing it out of the park, but you certainly get the characters and...
They're fairly well painted. I'm not disappointed with them.
Not at all. But then there's like just the extra components. It's like everywhere where I think there's been a decision to say, shall we go with this or shall we go with that? Like there's little plastic gems in the game that are used, I believe, throughout the levels. There's kind of cogs, which are used to kind of mark the number of minions you've killed or hit points on a Doom tracker, basically. But they're metal. They've not just gone for a circular cardboard cutout. They've actually gone for metal.
There's a few metal coins.
There's coins in there which we never kind of went into. But I thought it was... We didn't play as many games as we went. We had a couple of games. We had the intro game and then we had the main game. But we thought we just wanted to talk about it because of the quality of it. And the other night I also played my son again, just to see what it'd be like. And the essence behind it is that you are one of these mechs that has a little character, and the mech itself is a programmable machine. And essentially what you do is your job is you will draw cards and you will place them on a track and then you'll execute. You'll execute these moves.
It's a cooperative game, so you're not actually fighting the other people you're playing with. And the draft mechanic is the sort of main thing about the game, I would say, in my opinion.
Yes. It's kind of strange that the thinking part of it and the AP part kicks in the draft mechanic.
Yeah.
It kicks in more, especially if you're having a very bad game, as we as established kind of last night. Because basically, you get certain types of cards. You get movement. You get directional movement cards, which allow you to move a couple of squares forward, or you get rotate cards, which allow you to rotate 90 degrees, 180 degrees, whatever. Then you get attack cards. So they come in a couple of different flavours. You've got kind of like an electricity card. You've also got a flame card. And then you've got...
each of the different... We're not explaining this terribly well, are we?
No.
There's 4 branches of the cards you can get. So there's electronic, which has a little sort of lightning sign.
Yeah.
Then you've got the flame stuff, which is mainly attack stuff from what I noticed, but there's a few movement cards.
It's attack that also allows you to chain attacks together as well.
And then you had the circuit boards, which were predominantly
kind of movement but also different types of movement as well, and they also could have an effect on the I think it was the drafting ability as well. There was a card that allowed you to draft more cards at the beginning if you were the first player, to kind of basically give you kind of more choice. On each of the cards,
and the last type is the gears.
Yes,
the metal gears, and they were predominantly attack or movement.
And each of the cards have got lines on them. 3 lines of action. So you've got, for instance, on the cog ones, or on the the cog.
It doesn't matter. The first card you buy, you would put it in. You've got 6 spaces to program your mech with, and you put that card into that space, and that sort of tells that space that whenever you put a card into that slot, if you put a cog in there, another cog card, then you'll unleash. You steadily lock the free abilities that the card can do. So when you first put a card down, it has that ability. When you put another card down,
you're using the second line ability.
Second line ability, and then the third line ability. So.
And but as long as you put the kind of the same type cards together, you can unlock the third ability on a card, even if you've not placed it down. If it's the third card you place down on a pile, then you use the third ability. But you can't change the order of the piles of the cards themselves.
No.
You can change which slot they're in. And also what we found as well is you can't downgrade a card.
No.
Because you'll have like a movement. There's an Omni Stomp card, it's called, and that got us into a lot of trouble last night, because the Omni Stomp, if you leave the Omni Stomp as a 1 card, you just stomp either forward or left or right. If you put 2, you get 2. If you get 3, you get 3, but you've got to move 3. You don't get to kind of scale it back and say move up to.
It's all got to be in either forwards or to one of the sides. You can't go one forward, 2 sides. You have to go all that direction you pick.
And you can't generally get rid of cards. You can scrap them, and that allows you to do certain things like damage and swap rows. But generally, once a card's in there, that's it. You're stuck, unless you put another completely different card on top of that to get rid of it, and then you're kind of resetting the pile. As I say, it's fine if everything's going well, but it's a complete nightmare if everything is going wrong. We ended up in the situation last night where for some stupid reason, I ended up not putting a card in correctly. That meant I was rotating 90 degrees twice. So I was never facing in the right direction of where I wanted to go, and then I was just charging off, hitting the wall, and then I was basically going back and forward on myself like I was playing tennis with myself. So you do that. So you put your cards down, you enact the movements the motion you've got to do, and then that's it. And then you get the minions' turn, which is Mr. Colin.
Well, there's. On each of the game tiles that you have, there's what they call a rune square. And on the minion turn, every single time they move. So they move towards whatever the mission states that they'll move towards, which can be a random roll if it's on a particular mission. The mission that I've played, there was a bomb on the table, so all the minions move towards the bomb, which was kind of awkward because it was sometimes when the bomb was a unilateral distance away.
Yes.
So does it move does it move left or does it move north? Does it move north or does it move east towards the bomb? Because it didn't really matter, but it kind of did matter with the mechs. Yeah. If you know what I mean. Because I'll be able to stomp and kill him if he moves to the north one. Mm-hmm. Well, does he move to the north one then, or would he move to the east one? Which was odd. There didn't seem to be a rule for how to cover that.
No, I mean, it said, I think the only thing it said is if you've got a choice between going kind of like the north and south direction over the east and west, you always kind of go north and south. But you're right, there was some points.
Missed that then.
Well, there was some kind of points where you're kind of like, which way would I go? And then there was the thing is, what minion do you move first? Because you've got a whole pile of minions, and depending on which minion moved first could have an effect on where all the other minions kind of worked as well. The best thing about the minions was that...
Well, the after movement, the minions then, in the missions we've played, respawn.
Yes.
So on each of those rune tiles that we mentioned, just another minion gets placed down. So the board soon fills up with minions quite fast. But you were going to say... Sorry.
Well, I was going to say... I was going to say the best thing about the minions is that you're given a massive supply of minions. You're given, and the reason that you're given them is because you'll be spawning them, and you'll be spawning a lot of them. There's a massive difference between playing a 2-player game and a 3-player game that we had.
Yeah, I would, without a doubt, think so. Yeah.
You ended up, I ended up using the attacking moves an awful lot more than the movement moves.
Yeah.
And ended up I had to reprogram my board in order for us to actually win the mission because you were very, very easily swarmed. Now, the minions, their next stage is they go ahead and attack. But they're very, very weak in terms of themselves. So if you move on a minion, you kill it.
Yeah.
If you hit a minion, you kill it. They've not decided to go for a success on an attack thing. If you attack a minion...
Yeah, we don't know. Possibly.
Well, we don't know, because there is dice involved, and and there's also the rune dice. The rune dice are like 8-sided dice with little coloured runes on them, and they have an effect on...
I think there were 12s.
Were they 12s? Alright.
Could be wrong there. Could easily be wrong.
I'll check back. But they were only used they weren't used that much at all during those levels, but they've not put into that kind of chance where, if a minion attacks you, it succeeds. If you attack a minion, you succeed and you wipe it out. But how they deal with damage on the game is that rather than you can't die, there's no point you die.
You can't die. You can't leave the playing field either. So.
You can't fail. You can only fail a mission if you miss. If you get and the way they deal with it is that if you get damaged, you get a damage card. You turn it over, and it either has an effect straight away. Like there was a glorious effect that I was telling son James about and said, well, there's just an effect card that if you get it, it gets you to swap rows, COLIN 1 and 6 and 2 and 5 and 3 and 4. And as if by fate, that was the next card. That was the next card I drew, which ended us up in all the trouble that we kind of had. Which was, that was a lot of fun. Not kind of like, oh my goodness, we're about to die here. Because I think we lost about 4 hit points to the bomb. On the 4 stability points on the bomb within about the space of about 2 goes until we managed to kind of clear them out. But you get a damage card, and what happens with a damage card is you put it on the damage track.
Yes, random roll to see where it lands.
Yes. So you don't even get to decide. Yeah. So you could have a really, really decent kind of build-up that makes sure you're kicking ass and taking names kind of every single turn. And then you get one bit of damage and it can completely mess up kind of where you're going.
And these damage cards can be anything, like turn to a side.
Yeah.
I had one that's whenever I hit that one, I was to move to the right one square.
Yeah.
And, things like
roll
that.
a dice, and then, you roll... That was one of them, is that you rolled the rune dice, and then you automatically move 2 squares in that direction.
Oh, dear me.
So that hit me last night. But there is a way of getting rid of damage, and that is quite simple, is that when you get back to the drafting stage, you've got the ability to scrap a card that you've picked.
Instead of getting a card,
Yeah. And then it's kind of a rinse and repeat until you either fail the mission or you complete it.
So you sure there isn't a thing, you were saying that the difference between the 2-player and the 4-player, the 3-player that we have.
I think...
Are you sure there isn't something in the rules that say, maybe a couple of the zones don't spawn?
No,
backers?
they all...
No,
it totally... It makes it for... But I think it's because it's one of these strange things, is it? Because you're doing the same damage, and it's the area, like the flamethrower, of does it in a flamethrower-y type shape that which you would expect. And because you're still doing the same damage, whatever, you just end up clearing out more minions.
Yeah.
And then you get the added bonus that because you're clearing out more minions, there's a minion carnage track, basically, that counts up every single time that you kill a minion. And then every 5th one, you get a cog. And you move up the cog track. Now, once you have a certain number of cogs in your possession, as in the team does, you have a card at the side, which is basically like an additional skill kind of blueprint that unlocks, and that's what we unlocked in the bomb level. And it allows you to have a special move. My special move basically was that I would attack everything in all directions as one special move. Just attack one minion in each of the directions, including diagonally and in the kind of the compass points.
I believe that's called kaboom.
It was called kaboom, and it was a kaboomy type thing. But then you get like brilliant cards, like say like the fuel tank, which I believe kind of almost saved our bacon in the game.
In
we
our
played,
game,
because I waltzed right in very close to the goal of where I'm supposed to put the bomb, and I got hit, and I went, "No, not taking that," and detonated. I think it was I had either a 2 or 3 on the fuel tank, which meant that the attack radius was
huge.
Was enough. It was 2 spaces all the way around me, so it was enough to pretty much clear the entire area for the bomb. It sounds like, it's Robo Rally. If people have heard of Robo Rally, which is the same, it's like a programmable. You're picking cards to program the game or program your robots so you go in a particular direction.
Slight difference with Robo Rally though, because it's competitive and you're trying to kill your opponents.
Yeah, but I mean, it sounds really simple, and it is simple to play. But I liked it.
It was alright, but the caveat I would give is we only played those, the tutorial and the first mission. So,
and I played the missions again with my son, and got a completely different set. One of the reasons that we're kind of calling it these are kind of our preliminary thoughts, I would say. But one of the things that really kind of has made me want to just go out and play it again and again and again is there are manuals, and then there's this manual, and this manual does an actual cracking job.
Yeah, each of the missions comes in this sealed envelope, so you don't know anything about it until you open it. So that's why I wouldn't mind playing a bit more of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And find out if I do like it or not. Because just now, it wouldn't be the first thing I would reach to.
See, for me, I would definitely play it again, just quite simply on the fact that when you got past the first level, we then opened up as you say, each of the following kind of campaign levels is in a sealed envelope, so you don't know what you're happening. When you're going through the game, it's like turn the page, but don't turn the page until you're past here. So it's kind of like keeping the secrets as it's going.
Yeah.
And in traditional type of, and I've not seen this until the only other place I've heard of this is Pandemic Legacy, where people seem to be very close to actually not going ahead and wanting to spoil anything for anybody. They're kind of, they're not really talking about because one of the things is when you open the box, there's a sealed box inside the box with some yellow and black tape on it. Right. And sticking out the top, there looks like a big axe. But you don't know when you're meant to open it. And it looks like a really, really massive kind of miniature that you're meant to be looking at. And the fact that as you're going through it, it's kind of using the story is basically, it's about a guy running a school to teach people how to use mechs.
Yep.
So it's interspersed with kind of like jokey references, and he says, this will teach you for using, building school equipment out of what appears to be old bomb parts.
Yeah.
So it's kind of very, very kind of
it's
quite
tongue in
weird.
cheek.
Yeah, it's not serious at all. But the beautiful thing is the way as you go through the manual, it's continually reminding you of this is how you should be playing this game, and then giving you guidance and saying, and now, by the way, you can use your additional skill slot. Or, by the way, you can, when you draw cards, you're meant to be flipping over this golden egg timer thing, which is filled with actual golden sand.
Yeah.
And then it says at the end, okay, now open this pack. And you're not kind of tempted to go in and open all of them. But when you open up a pack, it has another little manual in it. Again, probably to remind you of a new set of rules that you can include. Yeah. And also, it's got a set of cards. A lot of them have a set of cards, but it's all... It's one of the first games where I've really played where the strength of the presentation has helped sell the game to me as much as the actual game mechanics itself. And I think it's maybe because Riot Games weren't working to a budget. I mean, they're a multi-million-dollar company. They've made League of Legends, which makes hundreds of millions of dollars.
I need to buy some shares.
I know, and I use billions instead of millions, which is a bit of a mistake. But no, it uses... they probably, as I say, when they had the decision over the components, they just went, no, just the best.
Yeah.
And in terms of value for money, they did this differently in the fact that they didn't go to Kickstarter. They basically...
I thought they did.
No, they didn't go to Kickstarter. Basically, what they did is they said, we're going to release units of 30,000 at a time. And then they also said it's going to be 65 euros for the game. Yeah. So in terms of the amount of game, the box itself is huge.
It's quite a big box.
It's like if you look at like an old Space Crusade Milton Bradley box in terms of its size, it's that size. But imagine it's actually double the width. So you're getting a lot of game for that money, and I think that they will put the game out there and they just went, right, and they just waited for the reviews to come in, and I think it's pretty much kind of sold itself really, really quite well. So it's Riot Games. Obviously we'll put a link in the show notes so people can have a look. Do we want to... Star Realms. Do we want to talk about Star Realms, or do we want to talk about Star Realms another time?
I think we might just talk about that another time.
Let's do that.
But there's something else to talk about.
Yes, Woo! Because the too long didn't read version is it's amazing, and that play it.
It's good fun. 2-player.
It's good. I'm always tempted to get into it now, but you can. But yes.
Well, you can turn the music on. People can listen to that, and I can do a running commentary.
Yeah, no.
Richard has swiped a card now.
I played it with James last night for the first time. And
how did you like it?
He loved it. We both got down to one hit
point.
Yes, and he pulled out. Basically,
did you have a physical copy now?
Yes.
Oh, right,
yes,
excellent.
Yeah. So he pulled out. He basically pulled out like a 20 hit point crusher.
Yeah.
He managed to be. He kind of very early picked up on the fact that if he had all the the kind of the factions, then he would be fine. So he ended up picking up a lot of greens and reds as well. Yeah. So he got very quickly into the line that if I scrap my cards as I go, and he also used that wonderful rule about scrapping a card in the actual row.
Yes, yeah.
And so he scrapped
so he can cycle it and get things he can afford.
He scrapped it and caused me like 4 damage off that.
How would he do that?
I think because if you scrap the card in there, you get the scrap value as well. Unless I'm wrong, we shall have to review this off podcast.
Yeah, we'll review that off podcast.
But we will come back and talk about Star Wars because I really, really liked it. I guess the only other. I've played so many games. I know we haven't spoken, but I've played so many games.
I've played a few.
Yeah, the only other thing, biggest disappointment in the last couple of months. No, okay.
We've not played PAX before Rihanna?
That's a big thing. Biggest disappointment game-wise in the last couple of months.
Ooh.
Very quickly.
Ooh, for me?
Yes.
Disappointment that I've had?
Yes.
Oh, God. I don't know. I can't.
Can I maybe drop one?
Yeah, you can drop a bomb, which might spur me to actually have a
Quartermaster General, First World War version.
God, yeah, I did not enjoy that.
No, I just 2-minute rant. It's the 2-minute rant. We're not wizards rant of this.
I'm really lucky that when I bought that, I bought it with Victory or Death, which is
really good.
Which is their Quartermaster General Greeks.
Yes.
And I really enjoy that game.
Yes.
But we played Quartermaster
General
First World War.
Yes.
And something about it which isn't as enjoyable. I can't really put my finger on it.
I can put my finger on it. When I played Quartermaster, the thing I loved about Quartermaster was that you had all your different countries.
Yep.
And you played Japan, or you played Italy, or you played America, or you played the UK, and that's what you played. In Quartermaster 1914, what they decided to do was that they decided to mix countries together.
Well, there's only there's one for each faction.
Yes.
There's what is it? It's France, Italy,
yes,
and Hungary. Austro-Hungary and Turkey.
Yes.
For the access. Or whatever it was called.
The issue that I had was that and this is, as I say, a very, very quick 2-minute rant that pretty much ruined the game for me, was the fact that you had cards for Italy, cards for France, and the only cards for Italy would proc cards for Italy, and only cards for France would proc cards for France.
It is a thing that whoever takes those two positions, which in the game we played was you and me, that's the position that the person who's got the most experience playing the game should be playing. Yeah, and we both not played the game before.
No, pretty much, because I had... It's the usual thing. You either play a card or you prepare a card. And I was preparing cards left, right and centre, only to discover that I couldn't use a card because it was the wrong country, and I ended up just sitting there going, do you know what, I'm losing here, and it was just such a pain in the butt, because I really, really, and to date I still love Quartermaster General, and we just play it over a lot of other games, so that was the biggest that was a bit of a...
For me, Quartermaster, I would rather play Victory or Death than Quartermaster.
Yeah, and we've already, in our last episode, we had a chat about Victory or Death. So go back there and like it, because we really, really kind of did like it. Going forward, we are going to decide, we're going to be playing lots of other games, but we need a couple to potentially talk about. One of the games that you've played, and I have got my hands on, is Abyss.
Abyss, yes, I've played that a couple of times.
I do not know who it's by. I can't remember. I shall check. Look at this.
By those chappies.
Live and check. Live and check. Keep talking, keep filling while I keep following. Abyss board game.
I can't. You're filling the air.
Oh, Colin! My goodness, let's find it. Come on, here we go. Abyss, the game is a company called Bombex. We're going to play Abyss, which is about underwaters and season control.
Sunken world of Atlantis.
And you get real pearls in it, and it's really exciting.
They're really good fun to play with.
The other game we're going to talk about, we said Star Realms, which we'll probably talk about anyway, and potentially the Bloodborne card game, which is 3-player.
Ooh.
Yes! And we might also potentially talk about the Dark Souls board game, because we have played it and I've played it a few times, and that would be a good one. So what we might do is we might do what we did last time, which is we will put a poll up on the Twitter sphere.
A Twitter poll.
And if you want to
Are you sure?
get involved, yes.
I'm quite sure Twitter says no.
Twitter, you'd be surprised how many times Twitter has said yes to us of late. So those are the games that we're potentially getting to the table. Abyss, Star Realms, which we've played already but we might want to talk about. The Dark Souls board game, which we've played already but we might want to play again. Yeah. And its sister game, Bloodborne, which is on the cards. Okay. Kickstarters.
Quick starters.
Giving it a kick. As you know, we continually have guests on the show from people from different places, so I thought rather than ramble off again and say, look at these things, I'm going to mention a couple very, very quickly that you can go and listen to. We've got Epoch the Awakening board game, which is by Orange Nebula, which is Mark Neidlinger. Mark was on the show last week, so if you want to go back and listen to his episode, then you can. He is currently, they are on 48,000 of $29,000, so they are doing very, very well. Friend of the show, Mr. Eduardo Baraf, who's coming back on, who did Herbaceous before, and he's got another Kickstarter out called Legendary Creatures. Which appears to be I'm just having a look. It is a deck. It's around a deck building tile-based game. It looks rather fun and interesting. It is, and as you know, with Edo stuff, the presentation's always fantastic. He's doing very well. They launched last week. And they've got 25k, and their target was 20. So they're going to start hitting some stretch goals. We'll try to get Edo back on again in the next couple of months, basically. Founders of Gloomhaven is out.
Founders of Gloomhaven?
Yes, Founders of Gloomhaven is basically, it's a standalone city building board game by Mr. Isaac Childress.
Because I'm in the Gloomhaven one.
I can't wait to get that. Yes, I know. I know. And I'm not in the Gloomhaven one because you are in the Gloomhaven one.
And you own Descent, so what's the point?
I know, and exactly. So what is the point? And also we've got City of Kings potentially coming on the way as well. So hats off to good old Frank West. We love you. On the other side of it, Star Realms themselves, I know we keep mentioning Star Realms, but I have been playing it
on... You've
gone
a bit nuts over the Star Realms. Oh my god.
Yes, I'm going to change my son's middle name to Star Realms, pretty much.
But Colin, but I can play it on my phone, Colin.
I know, I said I would text. Here's my username. I put it on Twitter, actually. There's my username, guys. Anybody want to give us a game? So I've actually had spent like the last week after that just playing Star Realms constantly online with people and either winning or losing, whichever happened. But Star Realms Frontiers is out on Kickstarter. 25 days to go. It's got a budget of 100,000. It's done 388. 100,000.
I think Star Realms might be a wee bit popular.
Yes, a little bit, potentially. We will obviously put links to these guys in the show notes.
And by we mean Richard.
Yeah, I know. Right, but I'll put links in the show notes so you guys can check them out. So that's Epoch, Star Realms. We've also got Founders of Gloomhaven, Legendary Creatures, So you can have a look at them and check them out. Just as a quick aside, Carcosa that we had on the show, he ended up funding 26,000 above his £6,000 target. So congratulations to Nigel. And also,
or commiserations, depending on how much work.
Congratulations to Justin as well, who he did £9,000 over a £3,000 target.
Nice.
And last but no means least, the wonderful, the fantastic, the amazing Mr. Ian Schofield, who did the Ravage Dungeons of Plunder. And he ended up on 25k of 18k. So people are funding like crazy.
Well, congratulations, chaps.
But remember, as we always say with Kickstarter, buyer beware. Check them out, check out the company, check what they've done before. And obviously, if we've got a podcast with us, make sure you listen to it. Make sure you do. Moving on to shout outs, Colin.
Yay!
You love a shout out.
It's our favourite part of the show.
It's not your favourite part of the show because you're like, oh, maybe he's going to talk. We do joke. Well, there is a joke on the show about iTunes reviews, being that if you do like us, then leave us an iTunes review. And
yes,
remember,
please.
Yes, and remember, don't give us a 10 because...
Tens are schmens?
No, that'll make us big-headed. And don't leave us a 1 because...
I'll cut myself?
No! That'll make us cry. Leave us a 5 because that's in the middle and it's average and we're decidedly average.
We are decidedly average.
And you know what everybody's been saying recently? Oh no, you're at least an 8. You're at least an 8.5. You're at least a 9. Yeah, and then I have to remind them constantly that the highest level you can get in iTunes is a 5. Anyway, we have had some reviews, so I'm going to read out a couple, not to obviously make us feel big-headed, but why not? But it's just a big thank you because I know that I'm not going to spend when we get a guest on saying, alright, let me just read out some reviews about how other people find us. But as a thank you, because I know people have left reviews, it's just to say, thank you to a couple of people, except possibly Nick Jones. But we'll get onto that. Metalhead of Death. Now I've never been a massive board game player, but it's something that's always interested me, and it's such a great to find a podcast that helps alleviate the intimidation surrounding board games, just to give you a relaxed, friendly perspective, even from someone who's a passing interest. This is a cracking listen by two very lovely gentlemen.
Oh.
It might even inspire you to try and find a game you can click with, because I'm certainly considering that's for me for sure. Great podcast. You'll be missing out if you don't listen. They're all 5-star. I mean, it's quite, we've got the lovely Bez has left a review, 000. These chaps are a delight. Lots of lively chat about a massive variety of tabletop games, articulated deconstruction on why these games are or are not worth playing, and a large number of guest appearances from across the hobby.
Maybe not in this episode.
No. Don't stop doing that. Stop belittling myself. Right, okay. And that's the UK ones. And there's also one that I've put on because you have to. And I've just said Magic the Gathering is the worst game ever. Because that's straight for so that, yeah. Well, you just have to. You have to. And just a quick shout out to, I guess, a couple of American reviews. Colin filling the time while I'm trying to get iTunes to work.
Just to remind you all, t-shirts are available.
Yes, they are. That's such a good. Yeah, we're offering t-shirts. You know what I mean? Because we're now shameless. Well, this might be episode. We're potentially in episodes
11.
This is episode 11, which means we're officially allowed to sell stuff. Yeah, Digital and Dice podcast. Just started listening to the show the other day and enjoyed it thoroughly. Great board game talk, informative and entertaining. Keep up the good work. Can't wait for the next show.
Wow, I'm never disappointed chap when they hear this one.
That cost us $25. Just saying. And just a couple of other shows that you might want to listen to, potentially, if you want to, who have been very nice to us and very good to us. I'm going to rattle off some names. I will put links into the show as normal so you can catch us. We have got the fabulous Staying In, Chris, Dan, Peter, Dan, Sam, Dan, and Dan. You can't complain that I've missed his name off the shout-outs.
Well, you double-danned on that.
I triple-danned. Oh. And that's a Staying In podcast. We've had a few of them on the show and they've all been fantastic. We actually just had Chris out recently. He was on the show with Tim Fowers, who did Burgle Brothers. Yeah. And that's just recently. We've also got to shout out to Days of Future Cast. That's Gary and the worst man in the world, Jeremy Greer, who do chats about the X-Men animated show and other things. As I say, Gary is a fantastically wonderful, articulate man, and Jeremy is a jobby. Do you know why Jeremy is a jobby? Because Jeremy bought the domain name We Are Definitely Wizards. And if you go to wearedefinitelywizards.com, he's forwarded it on to our website. Do you know what I mean?
Oh my god.
I know. So Jeremy is officially the worst. We've got the Meta podcast, which are good friends of the show. I've started listening to Existential Breakdown, where Stephen Vayu gives his insight into games, media, and other things. Monster of the Week, which is with the fantastic Chris, and also Jeremy, who is still the worst. Top Table, which is an interesting thing where they take 3 foods and they rank them in order of... They've got like 40 foods. They've got a top 40 of foods. Do you know what the number 1 food is? Chili Wave Doritos.
Chili Wave Doritos?
Are you checking your phone and typing in wearedefinitelywizards.com? Just a couple more. The Broken Meeple. Luke Hector, fantastic guy. The Salt Report, which Cenophiles and Cenobites. The Polyhedron Collider, which is John and Steve and Andy. They do some fantastic board game chat. Another Path, which I've just started listening to. These will all get links in the show. The Musicians podcast, Mass Movie Side UK with Gary, and the other one who thinks he's funny, who every episode rolls a dice and decides whether to be nice about us or nasty about us. So those are all our lovely shout outs for the day. I've discovered, look, editing.
Jump cuts.
If you click and then it leaves a spike and it allows you to edit. Don't do that, because that gives me the don't stop clicking. Oh my goodness. We know it's a quick one, but we had to get Colin back on because Colin is fantastic and wonderful and amazing. You are. And we don't get enough time. We do. It's funny because we get enough time to play on occasion.
No, we don't. That's why we've not played anything for months.
And we don't get enough time to talk, but we are going to make a concerted effort to make that different and have regular batches of Colin. Because every time I say, what would you like to see in the show? And they go, we'd like to have more Colin.
Do they?
Yes.
God.
I know.
Get a life.
Well, that's because you're wonderful. That's because you're wonderful and everybody loves you. And I'm just becoming... Do you know what you're like? You're like the big, dependable kind of sheepdog that comes in and going, I'm going to help everybody. And I'm the yappy little Jack Russell that comes around and everybody's like, yeah, we'll put up with you so we can get the big sheepdog coming along now. It's a tangent, but I'm kind of going with it. If you have listened to this nonsense, God bless you. If you'd like to find out and follow us and keep an eye on what we're up to, there are several places that you can do it.
We're notwizards.com.co.uk.
Yes, that's
org.
right.
Dot.
No dot. Not org.
No dot.
No. Twitter. We're Not Wizards.
Ah!
There you go. Instagram, We're Not Wizards.
Ah!
YouTube, if you search We're Not Wizards Tabletop, you'll find us. But the wonderful people at Podbean, who are a hosting company for the podcast, they make sure that they put up our podcast automatically onto YouTube.
Oh, that's nice.
So that is very, very nice of them. We love them very much for doing that. We are on places like Stitcher and Spreaker and Acast, and as Colin says, we are on Redbubble. There's a link in the links thing. Redbubble basically allows people to buy t-shirts and other stuff. Colin's currently going, sweet lord, what are you talking about, you ridiculous man? And where else can they find us? Oh yes, as we said, you can find us on Apple Podcasts if you search for We Are Not Wizards. If you'd like to rate and review, like we said before, that would be absolutely fantastic. You can email us, magic@we'renotwizards.com or .co.uk.
Oh yeah, that one too.
Yes, that one too, and that will always find us. I think that's about it.
Okay.
This has been, you think it's like, oh, this was a quick one.
This was a quick one.
Yeah, 55 minutes.
55.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my sweet lord.
Right, well, give these people an end to their suffering.
Let people go. It's so good to have you back. There's only two things to do now. The first thing is to remember...
Turn off the mic?
No, we have to remember that we are many things, but...
We're not wizards.
Bang on. First time as well. You usually say something clever. You obviously either want to go home or need the toilet. One or the other.
No comment.
And the other thing is to say goodbye. So it's a goodbye from just quite simply the fantastic ratings grabber, Mr. Colin. Say goodbye, Colin.
Goodbye, me.
Fantastic. And it's a goodbye from me. Remember, stay safe, roll sixes. Just if you can, get a Colin wherever you can, because he adds that extra je ne sais quoi to the proceedings. And thank you for everyone who's managed to help push us over 10,000 downloads.
Yeah. That's time you can never get back.
Exactly. You know what I mean? And you don't get a receipt off us, so you can't ask for your money back. It's fantastic. But until the next time, people, goodbye.
Goodbye.
I'm going to sing the song. Goodbye. It's time to go goodbying. Roll your dices, don't be complaining. I'm just making up the words. The glass bit. What? You're delighted to be back. And this is not getting cut.